Welcome back, guys, to We Talk Boxing. And today I'm going to be giving you guys my pre-fight breakdown between Anthony Yarde versus Artur Beterbiev, which is taking place on the 28th of January this year. So now, before I continue, please subscribe and like and comment for more boxing related content and help us grow this channel even further. So, this fight will see both boxers go into this fight with good boxing records. Anthony Yarde is currently 23 wins in 25 bouts with 22 KOs to his name and 2 losses as well. Both of those losses came to the likes of Kovalev in 2019, which was an 11th round TKO, and Lyndon Arthur in 2020, which was a 12th round split decision loss. Whilst Artur Beterbiev, on the other hand, is currently undefeated. He's got 18 wins in 18 fights with 18 KOs to his name. 100% KO rate. Unbelievable. So, Anthony Yarde, you know what I mean? He is currently ranked quite highly in the 175-pound division. He's number 2 as the mandatory in the WBO, number 3 with the IBF, number 3 with the WBC, and number 9 with the WBA. And he's also ranked in the Ring Magazine ratings at number 8 as well. Artur Beterbiev obviously is the main champion, you know what I mean, at 175 pounds. Therefore, you know what I mean, he's not ranked in any of the other governing bodies. He is currently the WBC, the IBF, WBO, and again, you know what I mean, in the Ring magazines, he's ranked number 2. So again, you know what I mean, he is the man that all the fighters pretty much want to beat. And it's just a shame, realistically, that we didn't really get to see the Bivol, you know what I mean, undisputed fight. But depending on what happens, you know what I mean, the winner will potentially go on to that, I reckon. So the physical stats between both guys sees Artur Beterbiev, you know what I mean, he is currently the older man by 6 years, being age 37, whilst Anthony Yarde, you know what I mean, he's 31. Both fighters are 6 foot in height, you know what I mean, and they share a similar reach, give or take, you know what I mean. Beterbiev is 72.8, while Yarde is bang on 72-inch reach. Now the stats, you know what I mean, reveal that obviously Beterbiev is the bigger puncher with a 100% KO rate compared to Yarde's 96%. So there's not much in it realistically, you know what I mean. So, you know what I mean, this fight is potentially, I can't see it going the distance, but you never know, really, you never know. Now, you know what I mean, when looking at both guys' professional bouts, you know what I mean, he sees Yarde, you know what I mean, he's had 25 bouts, you know what I mean, and 90 rounds, whilst Beterbiev, you know what I mean, he's had 18 bouts with 83 rounds as well. Obviously Beterbiev, he started his career slightly earlier than Yarde. He started his in 2013, while Yarde started his in 2015. So not much difference really between both guys in the physical stats. But as I says, the most important factor here is the KO percent rating. So yeah, 100% to 96. But as I said, this fight I can't see it going the distance. Now, you know what I mean, I'm gonna pretty much be having a look at the comparisons, you know what I mean, between both guys, and just to kind of see really, you know what I mean, where the types of opposition that both guys have faced to date. Now, as I've mentioned, you know what I mean, you've got Anthony Yarde. Anthony Yarde's been in there with some good opponents, you know what I mean, but realistically, they're not really quite up there in regards to the same opposition as what Artur Beterbiev has faced, and he didn't really get his real test really until his 16th or 17th fight, give or take, you know what I mean, where he then, Anthony Yarde, fought a Walter Gabriel Siqueira or something like that, which, you know what I mean, previous to that, you know what I mean, after that, he then fought a Travis Reeves, who at the time, you know what I mean, had, you know what I mean, a fairly decent boxing record really. He had 16 wins with 3 losses and 2 draws to his name, you know what I mean. But once obviously Yarde got rid of him, he then fought a big challenger, you know what I mean, the Sergei Kovalev, who at the time was still pretty much a world level top fighter, and you know what I mean, his boxing record was brilliant at the time. But yeah, Yarde fought him, and again, as I said, that was a big step up because obviously Kovalev was a, you know what I mean, a different opposition, a different beast. But Yard did well. You know what I mean? He took Kovalev quite. You know what I mean? To 11th round before Kovalev could pretty much dispatch him. And prior to that, you know what I mean, Yard looked like he was on top, and he looks as if he was going to dispatch Kovalev, but it wasn't to be. And again, he had to travel to Russia for that as well, so fair play to him there. And after that, you know what I mean, Kovalev, he went downhill. He then met obviously Canelo Alvarez, and we all know what happened there. Canelo Alvarez knocked him out, literally clean, game over sort of thing. But anyway, you know what I mean, Yard is other noticeable, you know what I mean, opponents realistically, apart from, you know what I mean, Kovalev, was Dex Spellman and Lyndon Arthur, who he fought twice. He lost one and he won one really. So he won his fight against Lyndon Arthur in style, compared to when Lyndon Arthur beat him, it was a split decision loss, and he was trying to say obviously that he didn't deserve to lose, etc., etc., etc. Whereas Beterbiev, you know what I mean, he's been in the ring with much better level opposition, such as people like Tavares Cloud, Jeff Page Jr., Callum Johnson, Marcus Brown, Joe Smith Jr., and a few other decent, you know what I mean, fighters who I can't really name because their names are quite mad to be fair, but he's been in there with some good guys, and he's knocked them all out. None of them have, you know what I mean, have pretty much gone the distance really with him, except, you know what I mean, I think it was, I can't remember which fight it was, but you know what I mean, he has been 12 rounds once, but as I said, he then knocked the person out in the 12th round, which to me, you know what I mean, still shouts out that he still carries the power up until the 12th round. So you can't really switch off against, you know what I mean, Beterbiev really, because he's always got that power. And prior to that, you know what I mean, he's been a few times, you know what I mean, he's been 10 rounds a few times with other opposition, and he's only ever been one 9 rounder as well against another guy as well. So again, with all these guys, he's still knocked him out within that time as well. So yeah, his power's always there. Again, you can't switch off at all. Whereas Yard, on the other hand, you know what I mean, he's been 12 rounds only once. You know what I mean, and that resulted against Lyndon Arthur in a split decision loss. And his only other fight prior to that, which near enough went the distance, nearly, apart from me getting knocked out, was against Kovalev, which was an 11 rounder before he lost. And all his other fights have ended pretty much early, do you know what I mean, by him knocking people out. But as I said, you know what I mean, the better opposition is Arthur Beterbiev. He's fought the better opposition, but you can't really judge that realistically because you could only fight what's in front of you, if you know what I mean. So, you know what I mean? For me, I see this fight being a fairly explosive chess match between both guys, really. Where I feel as if Yard, you know what I mean, would potentially try and establish his boxing distance quite early to try and set up his shots, you know what I mean, at range. And try and, you know what I mean, stay out of the range of obviously Beterbiev, really. But pretty much try and look to outsmart him at times. And I feel that, you know what I mean, he will potentially try and use his agility and speed to try and get in and out, you know what I mean, of that distance by trying to, as I said, trying to land his big right hand or, you know what I mean, body shots, etc. on Beterbiev, but without getting caught. And I definitely see, you know what I mean, this fight being, as I said, a close chess match, but Yard not really wanting to mix it really because obviously Beterbiev's got that power and he's proven that he's got that power because he's went the distance, nearly went the distance once in the 12th round where he still stopped his man. So I don't feel as if Yard's going to want to try and mix it, you know what I mean, as much as what he says he will do. However, you know what I mean, Beterbiev, you know what I mean, it's coming. I feel as if he pretty much try and come straight out at Yard, and working behind his jab because he's got a good jab, and look to move in and out of range by again him landing his big shots on Yard as well. But also, which I think is going to be vital, I feel as if he's going to be pressuring Yard quite early and sticking it on him and trying not to give him time to breathe, to allow Yard to make mistakes and leave himself open for obviously Beterbiev's bigger punches as well. So I feel as if for Beterbiev, that's the way that he needs to probably try and approach this fight, to try and make Yard slip up, you know what I mean, or drop his guard, etc., so that he could get caught. And I feel as if, you know what I mean, Beterbiev, you know what I mean, he's got some good shots against him, you know what I mean, in recent fights, he's been in there with some good big punches, really. and he's managed, you know what I mean, to land his big shots and harm them rather than them big shots harming him. And even though, yes, he has probably touched the canvas a couple of times, but he's managed to get up, so he showed that durability to get back to his feet and do the damage on his opponents. And I feel as if, you know what I mean, like the advantage pretty much, you know what I mean, is gonna be with him in that department. So that pressure in yard, that's where he's gonna kind of shine really. But you know what I mean, yard is kryptonite, as we all know, is the jab. And Lyndon Arthur proved that when in his fight really. Like if you've got a good jab, you can pretty much take Yard's skills away from him, frustrate him, and make him slip up, and you know what I mean, just put him on the back burners really. So I feel as if, as I said, with Beterbiev, if he really comes out, sticks, I mean, throw his jab quite early, establish it early, then he, you know what I mean, Yard is going to be in a world of trouble. He's going to be frustrated, and again, he's going to be left open for the bigger shots, you know what I mean, that Beterbiev is going to throw. So it's that time, you know what I mean, because I'm waffling a little bit now. So I'm going to give you guys my prediction, you know what I mean, and I'm going to say that this fight goes the distance. Most of you guys are probably thinking, what's he on about? He doesn't know what he's on about. But I just feel that, you know what I mean, Yard's tactics, you know what I mean, will try to pretty much be boxing in and out of range and try not to be mixing it with Beterbiev as much because, again, as I said earlier, he's going to be a bit not shy. I can't really think of the right word, but you know what I mean. He's going to be cautious. That's the word. He's going to be cautious of getting knocked out, especially in the earlier rounds and potentially even in the later rounds as well. Because Beterbiev's not going to start too fast, but you know what I mean. He gets better as the fight goes on. So as I says, he's always got that knockout power. So realistically, Yard and his team, their game plan is just going to be in and out. You know what I mean? Trying to frustrate Beterbiev, trying not to mix it with Beterbiev, and as Beterbiev comes in, tie him up, frustrate him, make him miss. You know what I mean? So that Yard could then try and unleash his own power shots, but he needs to just watch really that as he unleashes his big shots on Beterbiev, that he doesn't get caught with a counter. Now, anyway, guys, you let me know your thoughts, you know what I mean, in the comments below. How do you see this fight going? Who do you think's going to win and by what method? Stoppage, KO, points? As always, let me know in the comments below. Please subscribe and like and comment for more boxing related content. Bless.